Would I be an a-hole if I break up with my boyfriend right after his brother died? So me, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 21 male, have a very high school relationship. I personally always knew it wasn't gonna last forever, but the past 2-ish years, it's been falling apart. We've been talking and seeing each other less, and I was gonna let the relationship run its course, but a little over a year ago, my best friend died. It literally broke me. I've never had a lot of friends, and at the time, that friend and him were the only two people I hung out with. So I know it sounds selfish, but I decided to stay with him because I couldn't take losing anyone else. Fast forward about a year and I'm doing better mentally. Now, mind you, I've been the one putting in all the effort in the relationship. I'm the only one who plans dates and I always call and text first. At first, I was fine with it, but at this point, I can't keep putting in this much energy and getting nothing back. So I was ready to break up with him. Then his brother died. I can't bring myself to leave him when he's grieving like this, but he's barely even talking to me anymore. He doesn't want to go anywhere or do anything, which I get, but he's not even responding to my texts anymore. I still really love him and I know he's struggling, but I also know that the relationship needs to end. So would I be the a-hole if I left now? I guess technically OP would be the a-hole in this situation, but I personally think that it's completely justified. So what do you guys think? Would you break up with him or wait? Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter-in-law that she's not a mother? So I, 64 female, have 3 kids and they're all married. This post is about my son and his wife, Jenny. Jenny struggles with infertility and she has no children. My other son, his wife, is expecting next month, and my daughter just recently had her own kid. Everybody was busy for Mother's Day and they couldn't meet up with me for the holiday. That was fine because they were all starting their own families. So I completely understood. I thought it would be nice to send my daughter-in-law who was expecting and my daughter a Mother's Day basket. So Jenny always made comments that her 2 dogs are the first grandkids. I always thought of it as a joke, although she is big on being a dog mom. Anyways, my daughter posted a picture in the group chat of everything that she got for Mother's Day, including the basket. My other daughter-in-law also thanked me for the basket in the chat. Jenny called me soon after and asked where her basket was. I was confused and asked what she meant. I thought maybe she was pregnant and this was her way of telling me. Then she clarified that since I had 2 grandkids by her already and said her dogs' names. I was even more confused at this point, and she clarified that she is her dog's mother and she should have gotten a basket. I told her that she's not a mother. Mother's Day is for women that raise human children, not pet owners. She got really upset and then cursed me out for not getting her a basket and said that she was a parent. Now my son is telling me to apologize and to send a Mother's Day basket over. He's also calling me a jerk for not sending her a basket and telling her that she's just a pet owner. So was I wrong? Wow, I'm not gonna lie, this is super petty on the daughter-in-law's part. Like, I get it, you wanna be a dog mom, that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. But to expect a Mother's Day gift is just ridiculous. There is no way in hell that OP is wrong in this situation. I get that infertility is really hard, but there's no reason to guilt other people into like pretending that you're a mother to make you feel better. It just doesn't make sense. So you guys have to let me know, do you think I'm being too harsh and that the daughter-in-law deserved a Mother's Day basket for being a dog mom? Or do you side with OP? You have to let me know in the comments. Also, rate this sparkly mushroom jar on a scale from 1 to 10. All right, besties, see you in the next video. Peace. Am I wrong for embarrassing my mother-in-law in front of everyone? So I, 28 female, work from home as a software developer. My mother-in-law, 58 female, has never understood or respected my job. Every time she visits, she makes snide remarks like, "Oh, must be nice to sit in pajamas all day." Or, "Back in my day, we actually had to commute to work." This past weekend, we hosted a small barbecue. During dinner, someone asked what I do. And before I could even answer, my mother-in-law chuckled and said, "Oh, she watches Netflix and calls it coding." Without skipping a beat, I smiled and said, "Yeah, and that Netflix paid off your son's student loans and bought this house." Everyone laughed, but my mother-in-law got real quiet. After they left, my husband told me that I was being unnecessarily mean and that I should have just let it slide. So am I really the a-hole here? Heck no, unnecessarily mean? OP wasn't even mean at all. She literally just stated a fact. The only person there that was being unnecessarily mean was definitely the mother-in-law. And if my husband didn't have my back in this situation, I would be chewing his butt out too. So for me, OP gets a 0 on the a-hole scale, but the mother-in-law and her son both get a 6 for being disrespectful and annoying AF. What do you guys think? Am I the a-hole for publicly humiliating an old lady? So I, 34 female, have been married to my husband, 36 male, for 8 years. We have a 5-year-old son who my mother-in-law has never believed is actually her grandson. Why, you ask? Because he has my dark curly hair and dimples, and apparently that's not in their family. She's made comments since I was pregnant. First, it was weird little jokes like, are you sure you counted the months right? And must have been a wild summer, huh? But after he was born, it got worse. She actually told my husband that he should get a paternity test just to be safe. Then she told her friends that he doesn't really look like he belongs. And she had the audacity to introduce him as her grandson, allegedly. I begged my husband to shut it down, but he always said, "You know how she is, don't give her the satisfaction." So eventually I stopped asking, and then I started planning. I ordered a paternity test and swabbed my husband and my son. Got the results in, and of course, it was a 99.999% match. I didn't say a word. That is until I went to her 60th birthday brunch at this fancy little tea room that she loves. Her family, friends, and coworkers were all there. When she stood up to make a toast, she actually said, "I hope this year brings clarity and honesty to all of us, some more than others." And she was staring directly at me. So I pulled out the envelope from my purse and handed it to her. I said, "Happy birthday. I got you the clarity that you've been begging for." She opened it and went dead silent. Then she burst into tears and left her own brunch. Now my husband said that I ruined her birthday, and my sister-in-law says that I publicly humiliated an old woman. I feel better than I have in years. So am I the a-hole? Absolutely not the a-hole. This was well-deserved payback. And I don't know what the sister means about publicly humiliating a woman when that lady denied her grandson for 5 years. OP's husband needs to develop a backbone and put his mother in her place. So do you think OP was an a-hole, or do you think it was justified? Am I the a-hole for calling my ex-wife's new boyfriend names in front of my kids? Alright, I'm 46 male, and to make a long story short, my ex-wife, 40 female, left me 2 years ago for our next door neighbor, after I found out they had been having an affair for about a year. Now we have 2 kids together, 5 female and 8 male. Unfortunately, the judge gave us split custody, though if I had it my way, she and her boyfriend would never come near my kids again after what they did. I just wish that they didn't have to grow up thinking that this kind of behavior is acceptable. Anyways, it's been a long, painful process. I'm literally at my wit's end with this divorce. I'm trying to be the mature adult here, but every once in a while, I'll have a slip up and call her new boyfriend obscene names when referring to him. Sometimes maybe even when the kids are in earshot. I know it's not the most mature thing to do, but I can't see why I need to be respectful towards the man who stole my wife and broke up our family. The other day, my ex-wife left me a long voicemail telling me how unacceptable it is to call the guy names in front of my kids. My guess is that one of them repeated an insult to her. Our friend messaged me to back up my wife, claiming that I was being unfair to my kids. Out of this entire story, how the heck am I the one who's being immature and unfair? I know I'm not perfect, but acting like I'm the monster in this story seems a bit excessive. So am I really the a-hole? Yeah, unfortunately, OP, you are an a-hole in this situation. Now, obviously, the wife and the neighbor are too. But just because they screwed up doesn't mean that you should be insulting them in front of your kids. You can say whatever choice words you want to say amongst friends, but when you bring the kids into it, that's when you become the problem. So as far as I'm concerned, everybody sucks here. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to rate my latest resin creation on a scale from 1 to 10. All right, besties, see you next time. Peace.